Intelligence is not about memorizing endless facts. It is about staying mentally steady when situations become confusing, emotional, or stressful. Most people assume smart individuals simply know more, but the real advantage lies in how they process events and interpret challenges. When pressure increases, average minds rush to react, but intelligent thinkers slow themselves down and observe carefully. They understand that winning an argument does not equal winning respect or growth. Instead of attacking different opinions, they ask thoughtful questions to uncover deeper understanding. Their focus is not on being right, but on discovering what is accurate and useful. By choosing curiosity over ego, they transform tension into meaningful dialogue. They realize that forcing agreement rarely changes minds, but calm discussion often does. Pride never becomes more important than truth in their decision-making process. When they fail, they do not collapse emotionally. They analyze the situation logically. One mistake does not define their intelligence or potential for success. They zoom out and look for patterns instead of obsessing over isolated problems. Every setback becomes valuable information for improvement. Rather than blaming circumstances, they adjust their strategy. Rejection becomes direction toward refinement instead of proof of inadequacy. They clearly separate what they can control from what they cannot. Energy is too valuable to waste on uncontrollable outcomes. Instead of worrying about opinions, they improve their actions. Preparation matters more to them than prediction. Mental energy is invested only where influence is possible. Silence is not awkward to them, it is strategic. They pause before answering, allowing clarity to form. That pause increases the power and precision of their words. Listening without interrupting builds trust instantly. People feel respected when they are truly heard. Reacting immediately feels natural, but responding thoughtfully creates impact. They breathe before choosing a reaction. Emotional discipline prevents regret. Calmness under pressure creates invisible strength. The ability to remain steady when others panic gives them advantage. They treat problems like puzzles instead of disasters. Before acting, they evaluate long-term consequences. Planning reduces unnecessary stress. Small daily improvements matter more than dramatic change. They balance attention between detail and perspective. Organized thoughts produce confident actions. They cool emotions before making decisions. Mental peace becomes a daily priority. Leadership begins with self-control. Logic guides emotion, not the other way around. They refuse to engage in pointless debates. Large challenges are broken into smaller steps. Words are chosen carefully to build clarity, not conflict. Habits shape thinking patterns over time. Stepping back reveals angles others miss. Reflection converts experience into wisdom. Balance between empathy and logic strengthens decisions. Letting go of useless worry frees mental space. Focus becomes their competitive advantage. They filter noise before forming conclusions. Mistakes become stored lessons, not emotional burdens. Structure replaces chaos in their approach. Tone is reviewed before communication. Short-term comfort never overrides long-term growth. Fear is examined logically instead of emotionally. Alone time strengthens clarity. Values remain steady during uncertainty. Effort is directed toward measurable action. Complaints are replaced with solutions. Structured thinking creates structured execution. Emotional overreaction is consciously interrupted. Small clarity dissolves large confusion. Observation precedes judgment. Preparation reduces anxiety before challenges appear. Attention is not surrendered to constant distractions. Deep questions uncover hidden insights. Thoughtful answers influence more than quick replies. Patience strengthens long-term success. Rejection builds resilience instead of insecurity.
Direction is chosen based on principles. Negative thoughts are filtered before settling. Waiting is seen as strategic timing. Criticism is handled calmly and objectively. Mindset is protected like a valuable asset. Planning replaces panic. Discipline compounds into progress. Self-awareness allows intelligent adjustment. Long-term vision prevents emotional regret. Emotions are identified before expressed. Difficulty builds endurance. Options are compared carefully before decisions. Controlled breathing restores clarity. Provocation is ignored unless necessary. Complexity is simplified through analysis. Peace improves productivity. Patience prevents impulsive mistakes. Small negativity is stopped early. Anger is redirected into creativity. Perspective shifts transform obstacles. Deep listening builds authority. Silence adds weight to speech. Focused effort produces higher quality results. Drama is consciously declined. Experience becomes growth through reflection. Anger is released, not stored. Stability earns trust. Boundaries protect energy. Questions reduce tension faster than accusations. Calm conflict resolution builds respect. Response is always a choice. Intelligent individuals design habits that support future success instead of relying on temporary motivation. They understand that consistency quietly outperforms intensity over long periods of time. Rather than chasing attention, they focus on building depth in knowledge and character. They recognize that emotional reactions often create problems bigger than the original situation. By choosing composure, they maintain control even when circumstances feel unstable. They measure progress against their past self instead of competing constantly with others. Constructive thinking replaces negative self-talk in difficult moments. They seek understanding before offering judgment or criticism. Emotional maturity allows them to stay steady in uncomfortable conversations. They accept uncertainty without allowing it to create panic. Thoughtful preparation replaces last-minute stress and confusion. Instead of defending every mistake, they admit errors and correct them. They treat knowledge as something to refine continuously. Their confidence is quiet because it is built on preparation. They understand that influence grows through patience and credibility. Rather than reacting to rumors, they focus on consistent actions. They remain adaptable when plans require adjustment. Ego is managed carefully to prevent poor decisions. Calm thinking helps them see opportunities hidden inside obstacles. They understand that silence can command attention without force. Self-discipline becomes their foundation during chaotic times. They respond to stress with structure instead of emotional explosion. Every challenge is evaluated for lessons before being judged as negative. They recognize that clarity comes from slowing down, not speeding up. Intelligent minds avoid exaggeration and focus on facts. They invest time in reflection to sharpen future decisions. Emotional triggers are studied rather than obeyed. They prioritize stability over temporary excitement. Consistent habits build confidence more reliably than motivation. They speak less but ensure every word has intention. Criticism becomes data rather than personal attack. They conserve mental energy for meaningful battles only. Before responding, they ask whether the reaction aligns with their values. They understand that calmness often disarms aggression. They separate temporary emotion from permanent decisions. Growth is viewed as a continuous process, not a final destination. They refine their thinking patterns regularly through reflection. Awareness of consequences guides their daily choices. They value clarity over drama in every interaction. Emotional restraint allows strategic advantage. They accept feedback without losing confidence. They improve quietly while others seek validation. Their focus remains on solutions instead of blame. They maintain perspective even during personal setbacks. Mental discipline allows them to stay balanced. Calm responses build long-term respect. They recognize that impulse rarely leads to wisdom. Careful thinking strengthens both reputation and results. True confidence comes from internal control, not external approval. Real intelligence is not about reacting quickly, but about choosing wisely every single time.